Welcome to the LANCave, where we're living as nerds. I'm Patrick, joined by Owen.
Discounts are not discounts, because you must pay us back.
There's a little weirdness news today. Interesting news today. Thankfully, got updates like shortly before we started the show, so we're going to give you accurate news as opposed to, just headlines that are clickbaity. I will say, because we're a couple days away from Obi-Wan, I thought it was fitting. This was on sale, and I haven't told you about this. This was on sale on Amazon.
What you got for
and I don't know if it's the one that you got, but I got this.
Oh yeah, boy! Is that the?
It's not the $800.
Is it the sequel trilogy Millennium Falcon?
Yeah, so it's the Rise of Skywalker one, but it is the one with the OG radar dish, not the square radar dish, because they came out with one. I want to say it was during Force Awakens or Last Jedi, where it had the square. This one doesn't have that. This is.
Well, now you got me curious.
Yeah, see, I figured you'd go check. Which version do you have? And I got Lando, Chewbacca.
I have the Episode 7 one, and it is a rectangle.
It is a rectangle. Okay. I mean, not that it matters. It's pretty much it's
but
almost
in the back
the
of your
same.
mind, it matters a lot.
Part of me it did, and I don't have Han on here. Like, there's a couple minifigs that I'm like, now I need, because Han would be gone by this point. But yeah. On sale for like 120.
Spoilers, but it's Star Wars. Spoilers from a few years ago, so sorry, but
$120, and I was like, that's a good deal. And I would, in the back of my mind, have been like, should I splurge and get that ridiculous giant Millennium Falcon? And then I saw how big it is.
Yeah,
it's obnoxious, and people had good reviews, so I'm like, that's fine. I'm fine with this one.
I've been waiting 6 months for this guy right here. Death's Door originally was Xbox exclusive, then came to Switch and digital only, and different company than different company than Limited Run, actually based in Dallas, Texas, called Special Reserve Games. Came with this kind of like brought a little joy to my heart. Came with a little instruction booklet, little throwback.
Man, bring those back. Man.
So I don't know if have you played this game at all?
I have not. No.
Apparently, it's kind of like what's the word where it's like you're looking down at the map?
Isometric.
Is that the word?
Like Diablo.
Yeah. So isometric in terms of like the play, and apparently it's kind of soulsy in terms of it's a little difficult. You collect souls for upgrades and stuff, but you play like this. But they also said it's kind of like a Souls Zelda hybrid. So it's on Game Pass if you want to check it out.
I got Game Pass, so
I was told it was awesome, and I've literally not touched it on digital because it was just one of these. The only game I'm now waiting on. I'm waiting on Eastward on Switch, and I'm waiting on KOTOR physical on Switch. I own it digitally already, and that'll be the last 2 games that I have ordered.
And I'm out.
until I see some stuff on like Forspoken until the summer. Summer Xbox's event is.
We got a couple 4 to 5 weeks. Is it June?
Is June 12th. Okay, so 3 weeks. 3 weeks for that. Summer Games Fest is... They have a kickoff event June 10th, so 2 days before. So Summer Games Fest going to kick it off.
Around the corner.
And we're going to be here for that. We've been kind of low on the news for the last few weeks. Been playing some backlog. What have you been getting into?
I've been playing. Excuse me. There's the spoilers there. I've been playing Dark Souls, mostly because I've been relatively busy, and I've played the game so many times that it's one of those easy. I'll just jump in. I know I'm saying Dark Souls easy, but like it's familiar enough that I can just jump in.
If you've done it, right? Like once you've done it, you've done it.
Yeah, and it's still challenging, but I haven't platinumed Dark Souls, so I'm possibly going to platinum Dark Souls, possibly, and then it's kind of one of my things since after I platinumed Elden Ring, and I realized I don't think I've even beaten this on PlayStation. I beat it on Xbox. I beat Bloodborne obviously on PlayStation, but I haven't platinumed the others. So it's kind of almost like it's almost like a rites of passage for me as a Soulsborne player. I'm like, I should probably have these on my list, which is one thing I like about the way that PlayStation has their trophies as opposed to achievements. You can see this is how many platinums I've accomplished. Something cool about that, as opposed to just an ever increasing number of points. But
is Dark Souls Remastered 60 frames on PlayStation?
I don't think so. You can double check me, but I don't think it's 60. I may be wrong.
It kicks the frame rate. It's still locked. At least it's not 30 default.
Yeah, so this is on frame rate. Yeah, PS4. I mean, I'm playing on PS5, but it says 60.
Nearly every game, be it Dark Souls or Sekiro. Okay, so the reason why I tell you, I wanted to make you a little happy.
Yeah,
I have put out some Deku deals. So if you have not been to that website before, I have moved on from PS deals and NT deals because Deku deals is an all-encompassing website.
Okay.
That combines everything. Now, unfortunately, they don't have an app, so it is like web-based. But I put out some things. I put Dark Souls Remastered in there for $10. When it's $10, I will pick it up.
Okay.
It's currently 20, or 30 or 40, depending on where you're buying it from. But when it's $10, I'll buy it. Depending on how this PS Plus tier is looking, I intend to at least try Demon Souls. Okay. Now, Bloodborne, I need the 60 frames.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
I'm not. I played Elden Ring at a nice, smooth 60 frames.
I was thinking Demon Souls because I remember one of those is coming. Yeah.
I can't go down. Yeah. Even though a lot of people I know, Bloodborne is their favorite, but I just can't. This is a 60 frame world. If I just, for an action game like that, I need it. I know that sounds snobby out there, gamers, but there's just certain things like there's a reason that you have to cave when you're playing things like Zelda. So playing Breath of the Wild, I have to play it. I have zero options. At that, but I don't have to play Bloodborne. That's just like a thing where I'm interested in dipping in. I have some skills. I don't have a lot of skills, but I did beat Elden Rings.
You did, yeah. And I will say these, the combat is similar. But Elden Ring has enough quality of life kind of adjustments in regards to the fast travel, in regards to torrent, being able to run around on your steed. And boss runs, like when you finally get to a boss and you die in Elden Ring, you spawn basically pretty darn close or right next to the boss. In Dark Souls and all the other Souls games, you do have to find the best, most efficient path to get back to the boss. And sometimes you're just literally running around enemies just to avoid damage and
that's why I'm not going to pay a lot of money for them, because they don't have the fast travel and things that I want, and there's only so much that I'm willing to do. That's where, again, Elden Ring did it right, and I hope Front never goes back.
You do
get the open worlds.
Yeah. Dark Souls 2 has more fast travel, and Dark Souls, when you get about a quarter or a third of the way through, you get a fast travel like thing, but it's not. It's not like look at the map and I can travel anywhere. But I get that from a quality of life perspective. Nobody's got time to, if we've got so many games to play, it's hard to jump back into something like that. So I get it.
So when there's some sales, I want to try the original. It's obviously not the original because Demons, but with the PS Plus, I'm going to try the remake or remaster, whatever they call it. I think they call it a remake, right? And then,
I don't know, remake, remaster. It's a remake.
And then Dark Souls Remastered. I am willing to try. I've opened the door. I might, I have. I've thrown open the door. I beat a Souls game, but I don't, there's only so much whenever you've played like a current, like you said, with all
Yeah.
this quality of life. There's only so much I can go back, but I am happy to be back playing some games
Yeah.
again. I took like a month off after beating Elden Ring. It was just one of those things you had to go. I am in chapter, I think, 14 out of 16
Yeah.
on Guardians of the Galaxy. So I am right there at the end. This game, don't sleep on this game.
Yeah.
It's on Game Pass. So if you don't own it, you should check it out on Game Pass. The gameplay has moments where it's annoying, but honestly, it could be one of those reverse things. You know how when people tell you that games are like awesome and they're so great and that you should just play them because it's like one of the best things ever that I've ever experienced, and then you play it and you're like, what's the deal?
Yeah. Get overhyped.
So in this case, the reverse happened. People were like, the gameplay sucks, but the story is good. And it was so many people saying that the gameplay was like not great. And I'm like, it's fine. It's fine. It's not anything special or anything, but I kind of enjoy the team-based aspect of it. It kind of makes me think of like Final Fantasy 15, where it's like not as polished as Final Fantasy 7 Remake. Like you can see like the bones in Final Fantasy 15 of like party-based like action RPG, and then 7 Remake did it better. So Guardians of the Galaxy is like that 15 version where it's like it's fine, it's playable, it's not terrible, but then the story is really, really good.
You're seeing the dialogue too, right? The dialogue, like
how many lines there are.
Yeah, that's impressive.
So I encourage anyone to check out this game. I don't know exactly how long it is because I've just been kind of playing it off and on. I would say it's probably like 20 hours, but you can check out how long to beat for that.
Okay.
I hope that even though Square just sold this company, that they get a shot at a second one. I hope that kind of goes with them. I hope that Marvel lets them have it, even though they have a relationship with Square and they have a relationship with Sony too. And now they have Disney has a relationship with Microsoft. So hopefully that can pass on to who bought Embracer Group, right?
Yeah. Embracer Group.
Yeah, so hopefully that passes along and they get a second chance, because if they can improve upon the gameplay and keep the writing at the same level that they had the first one, they will make probably one of the best superhero games of all time on their second go. I think if they get another shot, I think that it's what they say about House. It's got good bones.
Yeah.
It's got good bones.
And I will say, like, people were talking about like the price drop on it, because it came out and then the price dropped, I don't know, a month and a half, 2 months afterwards. Like it was being heavily discounted, and that's kind of the norm for unless the game is some huge blockbuster that they know is just going to keep racking it in. Like Elden Ring keeps, the sales are still relatively steady. They know it's going to drop off, so a discount 45 to 60 days into a game being released isn't out of the norm nowadays. It doesn't mean the game is a complete failure, but I'm hoping it's enough. The quality and the people continuing to play it, gives it that second life. If we can get more of it. I mean, between this, we've got the Wolverine game that they're working on, which I don't think is going to be until like 2024 or so. You got another Spider-Man game coming out. I'm going to guess next year on that. We got some good superhero stuff coming out.
It's I would say, just based on how long they've probably been working on it, I would probably agree with both of those.
Yeah.
I think that Spider-Man definitely comes first, just based on the fact that Spider-Man 1 came out.
And I assume they're going to use the same engine and all that. So a lot of the, not saying it's going to be a reskin. Yeah. So
speaking of that, what do we think about Snap?
I'm excited about it, and I think I'm like a target audience for a few reasons. Snap being a customizable card game. I love Magic the Gathering. I love deck building. So I'm hopeful on it. It's not obviously like I don't think of it as like a Magic killer. It's definitely its own thing. But I'm excited about it. The fact that it's on mobile and PC, I like, because I like the ability to use something on mobile. I didn't check and see if it's cross what's the term? Not cross play, but cross progression. I'm assuming that my same account will work on both. I'm hoping. If not, I'll probably play it on PC, just for ease or whatever. But I'm happy about it. I like when they can bring in something like this where it's like all the Marvel properties and they don't have to worry about the Disney MCU side of the house. But yeah, I mean it's definitely up my alley. I know it's not necessarily yours, but what do you think?
I played Hearthstone.
Yeah.
I loved Hearthstone. The problem with Hearthstone is just after a while, it just got to where I didn't want to spend the money anymore. Like, even though there was a free to play mechanic to it where you could earn the cards, it just took so long that you had to buy packs. Like,
especially when the new sets come out and you're like, I can't compete.
Yeah, you have to, because like the new meta is there. So I'm not a particularly good deck builder. I am good at playing the game.
Okay.
Whenever I have a deck, so like during my Hearthstone days, I probably played it for 2 years. I would go to the deck websites and I would just build decks that people had already built, and then I would learn to use them. I never made legend or anything like that, but I got to like top 10, like rank 10 several times, and so I like playing them. It's a thing of just my mind doesn't really connect. I don't have that chessboard type mind where I'm good at thinking about cards to put in there.
And the synergy between,
They said that a game is supposed to only take a matter of a few minutes. That's intriguing. This definitely speaks to the very mobile aspect of it, where people are playing at the same time. I hope that even though people are playing at the same time, that means that no action really occurs. And I'm guessing all the action kind of happens at once. Similar to maybe like an auto chess where you just kind of set up the thing, but in this one you kind of play your cards and it goes.
There's probably a timer of sorts, but it's not going to be like, where everyone's turn takes forever. And because it seems to be quick enough. Like you said, something in between. Maybe it's enough that if you've set up your starting play, maybe that's like a good amount of the actual work that gets done. I don't know. But dude, I love the deep cuts. Their Onslaught. It's great.
Yeah, and the fact that they're using old characters, the fact that the guy who formed this studio is a former Hearthstone person, and so I know that he's perfectly capable of directing a team to make a successful card game.
Yeah,
I'm gonna check it out. It's free to play. What's the harm in checking it out? I've been about checking out. I dipped my toes into Apex Legends Mobile. I was looking at this game, so I'm interested in this, and then I realized that we haven't heard about what's that other Marvel game that's like the Marvel XCOM game? You remember this? Midnight Suns. That's apparently supposed to come out like soon, and I completely forgot about it. Like, fell off my radar completely. So I don't think we have a release date for it yet. But
we don't.
Like,
it's supposed to come out later this year, but
so there's just superhero stuff. Marvel is going at it. DC has that fighting game it's actually WB, right? Like WB Versus or whatever it's called.
The multiverse one that you're talking about, where it's like Batman and Shaggy and multiverses. Yeah, that looks fun. That looks fun. And man, DC has so many good properties. Warner and DC have so many good properties. They need to get it together when it comes to the movies.
The fact that like Bugs Bunny's in a fighting game, that's awesome.
Yeah. It's so cool. Let's say briefly, we were talking about Rescue Rangers before we started here.
Chip and Dale, that was a solid movie.
Yeah, it was fun. Yeah, it was fun. The amount of cameos. Whitney told me, stopped me because I wanted to pause the movie every time, when the some characters pop up in the background. I wanted to pause to catch them, because some of them were really quick. and the amount of cameos or like different properties they brought in a lot of very big surprises. We're not going to spoil anything here, not that it's spoilerific, but I was really surprised by some of the characters that popped in that
Oh yeah,
yeah,
but
very surprised in a couple.
My favorite being the like known, like I'm a known fan of the villain. A very like it's one of my favorite characters of all time growing up.
Oh, okay.
And and that character's now been a villain in 2 different types of stories. And I'm like, come on, guys, like leave alone.
Yeah, and there's I won't go too far into it. There are some people who are who weren't liking like the choice for that washed up actor villain. I'm not going to go into it because it's like I could go into the like all the like idiosyncrasies of it, but I think it was a lot of talking about kind of the meta of Hollywood, not just Disney but just Hollywood in general, of like you're the washed up kind of idea of you're not used to me anymore, so we go on to something else. But yeah, I loved it. The amount of cameos and great acting from everybody. Speaking of great acting, we did get a little thing. This was technically, I think, last week that Kathleen Kennedy talked about this, but Kathleen Kennedy saying Indiana Jones will never be recast, which means probably the newest Indy will be the last Indy. What's the over-under on that happening, where Indiana Jones will never be recast?
I think that what they do is they just make him younger. Like there was still plenty of, like there was a book series about young Indiana Jones. Yeah. I think that they just may not be able to do 40-year-old.
Oh sure, sure.
Again,
but,
so I would bet the. I would bet the what were we talking about over under what would you say again over
under on recast. I think
I'd say it's very likely.
Yeah, I think it's likely, and I would say after the new I didn't realize it'd been 14 years since the last Indiana Jones movie. I don't think Harrison's going to do it after the next one. So I give I think it'd probably be within 10 years of the next Indiana Jones movie that comes out, within 10 years after that release, that they'll reboot it in some way. Like you said, it could be a younger Indy. Heck, it could be something deep fake style.
80 years old.
Yeah.
So it's not like it's, obviously don't want to put anything out like that out in the world, but there's only so much longer that Harrison can act.
Well, and wants to do this. He doesn't have to do this stuff,
so Indiana Jones 5 is supposed to come out next year, so that means he was probably like 77, 78 while they were filming it. Like, it's going to be a Patrick Stewart situation where, like, if you I know you haven't watched all of Picard, but every time there's anything action, that guy has no action left in him. Not that Patrick Stewart had a ton of action in him to begin with for the past 20, 30 years, but
sure.
He's there's just only so much that they have in the tank, so it's there's probably just going to be moments where everybody else is doing the action around him, and then occasionally Harrison might throw a punch or something.
I mean, I do know he injured his shoulder, if not other things, doing the new movie. So I know he's doing what he can, but of course, from a safety perspective, they have stunt doubles and all that, so I don't view it negative on him or Patrick Stewart, because I even heard, or actually in the episodes that I watched, there's like a part, and I think it's the first or second episode, where Patrick Stewart's running up the stairs, and it's a stunt double.
That was in the first season.
I'm like, yep, I'm like immediately like, okay, stunt double. I'm not going to, I'm not getting on to Patrick Stewart in that case, like at his age, to make it look good and to not risk accidentally slipping and delaying, because that's another big part of stunt doubles. It's not just like, can they do it, but the risk of, what happens if he falls and like injures himself, and then they have to delay filming. That's a lot of money. And so I don't think it's a property that they're going to just let die. And when she said won't be recast, I would view it as something where we get a younger Indy, not necessarily young Indy, not necessarily a teenager, maybe like shortly before, like a prequel to Indy to Raiders, like right, just leading up to that, like a Rogue One style. What happened right before Raiders? That kind of thing.
Yeah.
It could work, and with technology now, you could CGI someone to kind of look close enough to.
Well, I mean, I think we mentioned it last time, because I think we did talk about this last week, but it was a thing of like, this is a character that you can just make like James Bond. Like, he is a character that you can place in a certain time. Because you can't. I don't think you can make Indiana Jones current. At least not too current, because we have Nathan Drake with Uncharted just as gamers. I know like half the people, but that movie, dude, you see how much money that movie's made? It's gonna be $300 million.
So it's extremely impressive. I think
I haven't even seen it yet. I'm waiting for it to come to a service that I can watch it, because I've heard it's not terrible. I've heard it's just not good. I've heard it's fine, but I feel like you can make it like a timeless character of just have somebody play Indiana Jones for a while, and then have somebody new do it. Just like with Bond. Like we just got like the last Daniel Craig Bond, right? Which I haven't seen yet, and
it's good.
That it's going to make room for a new one. And I think that's perfectly fine, and just something that happens. I think that you could do that with this character and get away with it.
I feel like you'd have to pull him into a different. I think you'd have to pull him into a different time period to do it well. So that way you're not having to redo the whole, the Nazi elements and everything. Like, you could bring him into like the late 70s or something. Bring him into like the Iran-Contra conflict, and there's different elements that you could do it where it's still within history, and you have this this adventurer in the middle of it. It could be pretty good. I'm gonna skip because we got a lot of things to talk about, so I'm gonna skip. Obi-Wan is coming out in a couple days. We all know we're excited about that, but we had a little snafu with PlayStation Plus, and we do have an update on this, but it seemed at first, because the PlayStation Plus, the new PlayStation Plus, has released in Asia Pac, and the pricing seemed like you were going to have to pay the difference if you had a discounted stacked subscriptions, but this is apparently due to a software glitch, is what they're saying. I don't not believe them on that. It's kind of an odd one. I don't know. What do you think?
Wait, what?
So they said it was due. Where is it? Where's the updated? They said due to a technical error, players in Asia.
Do you believe it? Are you asking me if I believe it is a technical error?
Yeah. So because they said it's a technical error, I think
they wanted people to not notice, dude. Somebody was like, "Why isn't Sony smart?" And I was like, "Why is Sony smart?" That's exactly what they meant to do. They were hoping you wouldn't notice. Now, people like Patrick and myself would have had no issue, because we put in what are essentially gift cards. We buy codes from other websites, and so theoretically we paid full price for those codes. What they're referring to is like, you can, it's at least once or twice a year, they go in and they say, hey, if you renew right now, we'll knock $15 off.
If you renew for like $45.
a year. Yeah, exactly. And they were going to be charging those people. There was no technical error. Nobody looked at it, and they were like, they'll just press the button. They're stupid consumers, which honestly most people probably are. That's
kind of what I was thinking. I think that they thought it was going to be a small percentage, and it wasn't gonna be that big of a deal. Tim in the comments, by the way, we have chat popping up here now. So Tim in the comments saying Spielberg had to get his Back to the Future scene in somehow. Original Time Machine was a refrigerator. That is correct. Tim's a big fan of Back to the Future, so you knew about that, right? For the Time Machine for Back to the Future was originally going to be a refrigerator.
Oh,
yeah.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, so
that's funny.
Yeah. And also now I forgot to tell you, chat now pops up to be visible. So yay. Yeah,
Woo.
Good stuff, Tim.
We're advanced.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that I think this was it was an oversight, and I think that someone at Sony, seeing what companies do like this when it comes from a product perspective or an engineering perspective, sometimes they look at things and go, oh well, it's a small percentage, so if they were looking at thinking, oh, it's only going to be like 7 or 8% of the people who convert are bought it with a discount, if they even looked. Yeah, I don't. I think I think that they assumed people wouldn't notice, but the reaction or the retraction was pretty quick, and that tells me that it was either brought up or someone knew that was going to be a problem and acted quick enough to get it to fix. It wasn't something that took like weeks to sort out. So that's why I don't think it was necessarily a technical error, because you got to program. Come on, technical error to program the stuff saying your remaining balance. Like, that's weird. It seemed a little weird to me, a little too much. Yeah. But yeah,
I knew what was going on.
Yeah, but I'm excited for the conversion coming up next month. I do have, what is it? 2 weeks, right? 2 weeks from today.
I need to go put in my month of now.
I have a reminder because my PlayStation, let me know if it lets you put it in, because they're doing so many things. So
I'm just gonna sign up for a month via the service. I couldn't find any discount codes because I currently don't have now, and I know you can't stack. And I was looking for like a 12-monther, and they are sold out.
So, and mine expires on the 4th, I want to say, and PlayStation Plus comes out I can't remember if it's the 12th or something. But
it's already out in certain countries as of yesterday.
Yeah, but it's not out here until, I want to say it's the 12th.
Let me see these rollouts.
But yeah, I'm going to be doing the same thing.
June 13th. So you were
June 13th. Yeah. Yep. So
yeah, I need to just log in because I have a year left or more of PS Plus, and I'm trying to trick it into giving me premium for a year.
That's what I'm trying to do too. So I'm going to upgrade. My PlayStation Now ends on the 3rd or 4th. So I'm going to go in on the 5th and add 1 month and see if it can trick me into it. If not, I'll try out the new premium. I want to try it out anyways, even if it's a short amount of time. But the amount of games on there, I would not be going for premium personally. I wouldn't be going for premium if I couldn't trick it into that. I'm gonna give it a taste, see what I think. I think that the extras is probably where most people should go. Premium it has a lot of older titles, but I don't know. Like, I have a good amount of them, but if they are allowing not only those older titles but also ability to purchase them, which is what it sounded like. I don't know how many, but it's definitely worth dipping my toes in the pool. But I think extras is where most people are going to land when it comes to their pick on this.
I'm thinking mid-tier. That's where I want to be. I really want to see what kind of offerings they get. I want to see what kind of if they can get any like day one third-party stuff going. Like, they have a good relationship with Square. I don't think we're going to get Final Fantasy 16, but could we get something else on there early? Could we get some indie games? I think that would be great if they went back to their like early days of PS4 roots and were like, hey, we love indies, you guys want some money?
Dude, that was
and got some day one stuff. As far as that goes, I really want to see, because otherwise I'm perfectly content with how PS Plus is now. I wish I didn't have to pay for my storage, because essentially the free games are fine. I barely play them though, but it's just the peace of mind that all of my saves get uploaded and that I can, delete, or now, I can delete them off my console as my space fills up and not worry about it and re-download it. And if I had multiple consoles, which I'm sure I will at some point, whenever my kid comes of age, there will need to be some property sharing there.
Yeah.
He's not taking over my main console, so I'm gonna have to get him one, hopefully, unless he just hates video games, which would make me cry. But I'm happy with PS Plus as it is, so I don't need this extra. Right now, what we've seen from the library, as we've said, it's actually a great lineup, but we own everything. I
Yeah.
own all of it. I own all of those first party games except for Demon Souls.
I own
So,
I own most of them. So yeah, I agree. And it's the one how they're going to treat it, and Game Pass has what 5 years on this new service. So PlayStation launching its new thing, Game Pass is already I mean I think Game Pass was great to begin with, and it's just gotten better with time. But I think we're going to give PlayStation a little bit of time to see what happens in the first year or so as they and see how often are they adding games to this. Are they going to bring in some because man, if bringing in some of those partnerships with dude like Square, Devolver, like because Devolver pops up on Game Pass, a lot of their Devolver games could pop up on Game Pass, that kind of stuff. It's so beneficial. I mean, even if they did the game comes out for like 60 days on PlayStation Plus, and then afterwards, like, you got to buy it with a discount. That's a no-brainer in my opinion. Get people to try out the game and then buy it. Yeah. I think it's a no-brainer. What do you think about? There's of course rumors always talking about coming out about this, but the discussion of a PS5 Pro or Xbox. I'm calling it the Xbox Series XL for the Pro version of the series. This is coming out like I said. We've had a lot of talk about the next gen games. This is coming out from I always say TLC, but TCL manufacturer, saying they anticipate a Pro PS5 and Xbox 2023 2024. I don't know if Pro. I would imagine a hardware refresh, because we haven't seen a hardware refresh where it's cheaper to make, cheaper to maybe hopefully even easier to produce. Slim PS5. I would imagine we get that prior to a Pro, especially because it's hard to get your hands on them now. Why come out with a Pro?
I mean, honestly, I don't think it's a good idea if they want to do it. I think the best idea would be for them to put a bigger hard drive in it. I think that seems more likely to me. So, like you said, a hardware refresh. So right now, the current hard drive for the PS5 is 800 and change. Xbox Series X is like 900 something.
Yeah.
So I think that it would be a thing of let's put some 2 gig boys in there and really step it up in terms of hard drive space. I really don't. And like we already saw that they made soft iteration changes where the heatsink is now smaller on the current models of the PS5. So it's not like they're not actively making some changes already. I don't think people have harnessed the power of this thing. I think that we are still seeing too many 30 frame games to really express like what people said that the PS5 and the Series X were both capable of.
Yeah, they're making games for the last gen, still making games for PS4, and making games for the Series S. It's holding them back.
You can't keep these things on the shelves. I think it's in that case, it's very similar to Nintendo, where Nintendo's like, you're still buying our Switch. Why would we make a new one? Like, I do think Nintendo is making a new one, but it's a thing of why won't they talk about it? Because they don't need to. There's no need to.
As soon as you talk about it, your sales will plummet.
They're gonna stop buying the old one. So I think that it does happen eventually. Yeah. But I don't think next year. I think that's you can't even keep them on the shelves. They literally the Series S outsold PlayStation 5 in Japan last month. And
cool.
While that's a good headline, at the same time it was like, okay, were there as many PS5s available as there were Series S? And the answer is no.
Yeah. And the Series S,
good for Series S, but
Well, I'd say the Series S and I hate to say this because we talked about this last week about how it's hard to develop for. I still think it's a really convenient console. I would love to see the PS5 digital, being a similar idea. But man, if they came out with a hardware refresh where where it is a slightly smaller with a bigger hard drive, better heat sink, all that jazz. If they did that for let's say holiday or late fall 2023, I think it'd be excellent. Hopefully they can produce more of them, because that's obviously another part of it, is to say the demand is really high, but you can't keep them on the shelves, but the demand is still there. They'd rather have them have them in stores, make a version that can be made easier due to supply chains and all that. They'd rather do that than the situation that they're in. They're still doing okay. Switch is still selling pretty well. The SWOLED's usually sold out around me. I think they're still funny enough. The Switch Lite usually has a ton of Switch Lites around me if I go to a retail store. But
I haven't seen SWOLEDs at all.
Yeah.
I even went. They only had, like, I was at Walmart just the other day, and they just had 2 of the regular Switches.
Yeah,
and that's it.
Yeah,
Just 2 Switches, and that's still surprising. You'd think that there would just be a ton of those things.
Yeah, and you think like the Switch, the price range on the Switch being, you've got a Switch Lite goes down to what, $200. You have the $300 Switch, and then $350 for a SWOLED. That's economical, if you will. When the Series S is $300, and Series X and PS5 being $500, $400, $500, depending. There's a reason I think that people are buying Series S. It's there, and people are saying, okay, well, I'll buy this. I might not be able to get a PS5 this year, so I'll buy a Series S, play some Xbox for a while, and enjoy things. Or people's birthday parties coming up, they want a new console and can't get the PS5 and don't want to pay scalpers. I am hoping that it becomes a little bit more available, because I'm considering getting another PS5. But because of that Series S is convenient, but I don't know. I've got so much investment already in the PlayStation ecosystem that I'd have to be rebuying games for me and the wife on Xbox, the games that I'd want to play like 2-player, or because the reason I was going to get another PS5 is specifically for her to put in her office, so that she can play when she wants to play. She doesn't feel like she has to fight for the TV, and we can play 2-player games.
You used to be an Xbox gamer, Whitney. What happened?
I think it's funny because it's not that many like exclusive games. I think it's some exclusive, but mostly because I already have the games on PlayStation, so she just sees it.
It's like Arby's. We have the meats.
Yeah, I mean, I got Game Pass and everything. She did download some different game. I can't remember the name of it. That Rome game that you and the wife played. The one that was a Skyrim mod, and it's a time travel. Yeah. She downloaded that and has been playing that a little bit. But yeah, she plays more PlayStation. So yeah, and which makes sense when you get the PlayStation VR coming out at some point. So was it Jim Ryan that said this? I forgot the on the 20 launch game. So Sony is saying that they're going to have over 20 launch games for PlayStation VR 2. Considerable, it says Jim Ryan says he spent it's a typo there, spending a considerable amount of money securing VR content, which is good. I wish that he was
partnerships with independent and other third-party developers. Give me Half-Life, Alex.
Please, that'd be amazing. I'm still hopeful. They have not said for certain that it's going to be backwards compatible with PSVR. I think it would be I almost feel like leaving that catalog behind. It's not a huge catalog, but there's a lot of games that are sitting in our backlog that we got for free, or good ones like the Arkham VR, Beat Saber, and others that if they had it backwards compatible, you'd have 20 plus launch games and the old ones. Maybe, I don't know, maybe you'd have to have the PlayStation VR camera. I don't know. what it would take, but I feel like leaving that in the dust would be a bad idea to not allow for backwards compatibility. But Half-Life Alex would be pretty dope to have on there.
It needs to. I call it as a launch game. I'm standing by it.
I'll be happy about it. I think we're gonna see a lot of the VR games that, like I said, Beat Saber. That's an easy win. I would be surprised if Beat Saber didn't go on there, because that's an easy pick, easy buy for people. There are others that are popular that probably would get in there. Surgeon Simulator, that sort of thing. Hopefully we get some new stuff as well. But I'm just immediately thinking of VR games that that spark joy. We know we're going to get the Horizon. Can't remember the name of it. The Horizon Forbidden Lands, whatever.
I
was looking at the name. Call of the Mountain. Yeah, we know we're getting that. But yeah, I don't know what else we're gonna get. Are we going to get like? Yeah, well, hopefully. I'm saying, like, are the 20 plus? Is he securing games that we? Is he making sure to secure those games that we know we want because it's not backwards compatible? Or is it new stuff?
Yeah, it better not just be like Beat Saber and Star Wars. They better make it backwards compatible. Like, I was talking about this the other day, where they were like, because they haven't said anything, they truly don't think it's backwards compatible. I'm like, before Oculus Quest 2 came out, they had, and I don't know what the numbers are currently, but before Quest 2 came out, PSVR was the most popular VR headset of all time. It was the highest selling, and and when we talk about that, we're talking about like in the single digit millions. So I think the last I checked, it was at like 5 or 6 million, but that's still substantial for a VR headset. Vive doesn't sell that. The HTC Sense doesn't sell that. Like, nothing touched that. Now the Quest 2 has changed that, becoming a wireless headset,
and cheap, and wireless and affordable,
and being as accessible as it is. So if you want to retain like that top status or that second to top status when you don't have a wireless headset, because it is a single cord, it's USB-C, corded, you got to bring that over, and you can't snub the people who bought 5 million and literally buy all of your games. People who buy these kinds of headsets and support them, they buy everything that comes out for them. Like, this is a thing where, like, if there's a VR version of a game, they will buy it. And so you got people that are probably sitting on entire catalogs of VR titles. And then people like me, I didn't get into it because I wanted cordless, and they said, well, cord's not going to happen, but they have given enough upgrades on this second headset to where I'm not getting a Quest 2. My plan is to get PSVR2, but I want to play Moss. I want to go back and play Moss, which everybody says is one of the great VR games. I want to play Vader Immortal. I want to play like there's some stuff on PlayStation that I want to play, that Batman one that people said was really good.
Yeah, Arkham VR, yeah.
It needs to be backwards compatible, and if they don't, it's a horrible decision. It's an absolutely awful decision.
And I will say, I still think that the decision, I know, I guess kind of why they did it, but the decision, in my opinion, to have a wire, not only a wired headset, but the wire is fixed to the headset. That USB-C is fixed on the headset to then go USB-C to your to your console. That bothers me, but I will say I will more than likely test out, I'm sure other people will do this too, and get a USB-C extender, which I'm sure that they sell, because I have USB extender, USB 3.0 extenders. Because if you can get a USB-C extender, again, I assume that already exists, that's going to give you the extra room from you to the console. Because I always feel tethered when I feel like I'm going to pull the console out when I have the cord like attached to me on the PSVR. when I used my PSVR, I feel like I'm going to accidentally pull in reaction, and and jostle something. So I don't know how long that cord is, but I'm probably going to get an extender just to make sure I get a little bit more slack, so I don't feel like I'm going to panic and pull the console down. Or I've had a couple times where the dogs were like stepping over the cord, the cable, and like it pulled on me, and that's not fun. But yeah, we would want cordless, but we're not going to get it, unfortunately.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I really do want. Sorry, my kid is not going to bed. It's like 40 minutes later, so I'm like looking at him. Yeah, I genuinely wanted it to be cordless. Also, it doesn't shock me that they couldn't make it happen because they have to attach it to a more powerful machine. I hope that they figure out some kind of wireless connectivity as time goes on. But this is the one I'm in on. I am not giving Meta my money, not because I necessarily hate Meta, but because I am a PlayStation person. I have a PlayStation library. I do already own PSVR games via PS Plus, and those are games that came with my membership. But that's just kind of how it goes. But I do want it to be good, and I want it to be really good. And so I want everything to carry over, because I'm not going back and buying the PSVR. I've heard it's fun. I've heard it's nice. I've heard it works.
Yeah.
Well, I heard it functions, but I want new hotness. And what's funny is I say all this, like, I've been playing a lot of Guardians through my PS4 Pro with remote play via my PS5. It works awesomely, by the way. It's so funny that the PS4 is a perfect streaming machine. If you guys have a PS5 and you want to play it in a different room of your house because of whatever reason, so my reason is just people are using that TV or whatever, it works amazingly if you have a good internet connection like I do. Yeah Runs perfect.
And you're wired, aren't you? Are you wired on both of them?
Oh yeah.
That's really gonna help.
I have a mesh network, and I'm wired to each mesh hub.
That's the way to do it.
So it's like I've never really like understood how to classify that on like Wi-Fi versus like wired whenever you're wiring to mesh, but it is wired to mesh, so it's taking it's not occupying a wireless channel as
exactly
a lot of other devices do, so it's not getting that level of interference.
Exactly. Well, because your mesh routers are also wired to each other, so they're able to right, because they're wired to each other. So you're essentially wired. It's just a LAN connection at that point. It's the LANCave. So rounding out this week's episode, we got a little bit of news on Star Wars Acolyte. This is part of the High Republic content that's coming out. This is the new game, not to be confused with Eclipse, which is the more story-based game. But Star Wars Acolyte, man, I'm excited about this, being concentrating on the villains and basically having a bad guy's perspective and a martial arts movie inspiration. I'm for it. I think that Star Wars hasn't dug into I should say some of it has. If you played the Old Republic, there's some Sith and bad guy stuff, but I could play Jedis, that's fine, but I'd like to dig into other stuff in the Star Wars mythos and Star Wars galaxy, and being able to bring this in for these villains, I think is pretty cool. And the martial arts story aspect, I'm assuming that means maybe like a revenge kind of. I skimmed the article. This came in right before we started the show, but the martial arts story aspect of it is intriguing to me as well.
I'm excited that my favorite line in here was that was the person who is doing it. So it's the showrunner saying, "I'm a mega fan. I think this is the best place to put this in an era you guys have not quite explored yet, so it's going to be High Republic." But what my favorite thing that they said, I was coming at it as a fan who is much more into the RPG that the extended universe feeds on. So I'm like, Let's go, baby. I know that the High Republic is already open season anyway, so you're able to invent new characters. But what that tells me, High
Mhm.
Republic, if it's somebody who is a fan, do we have a chance of seeing maybe some stuff from KOTOR that gets on our? I obviously don't know what they exactly mean by RPG. Like, are they talking about tabletop RPG? Are they talking about KOTOR?
I'm assuming
It's
KOTOR, because the
it's
tabletop
not.
RPGs have been meh. I mean,
Yeah, well, I mean, it's tough to say. I know some people who are big fans of writing their own stuff and use those things. We played very briefly, and it
Mhm.
was a good time. I wish we could have continued, but my very first thought obviously was jumping to, oh, we got a KOTOR fan.
yeah.
All
yeah.
right, can we see some influences from Revan? Can we see some of that stuff come over to the High Republic? Now there's a big time difference there,
Still,
and
yeah.
everything like that, but can it be there? Can we make KOTOR
Yeah.
canon? Can we do it,
Man,
Kathleen?
we
Can we do-
need to. I mean, we know we're getting a KOTOR remake, but that doesn't mean that it's canon. It is still, it's still Legends. I think that KOTOR is something that deserves its place. Unless we get something similar, like you said, the time scale is so different. But unless we get something similar when it comes to the Sith in this time, I forgot. The Sith would have. I haven't read any High Republic. Sith aren't around during High Republic, are they? Because it would have been like 1,000 years before.
I bought 2 books, and
Yeah,
I've just been playing games and doing schoolwork, so I can't speak to what the dark side status is.
Because I think what was it in episode 1? They were saying that was how long was it?
Okay, so they're in January, so they're not known. Apparently, is what it seems like. There's an article here from January that says they weren't gone entirely from the High Republic. They just bided their time in hiding and living by the rule of 2. So there's probably some stuff in there that I don't know if the books have gotten to yet or what. So I have 2 of the very first books to be bought, and I don't know where it is.
I need to read them now. Seeing this, we know Eclipse is coming out. I feel like I need to jump in because I didn't. As we know, I'm have hardly watched Rebels and Clone Wars, and I feel like I've missed out on a lot of Star Wars in that, and I feel like could be missing out on some really cool Star Wars stuff that we're building the foundation of. Those books are building the foundation that, when we have new cartoons and games that eventually come out, I would like that context to know this. I already love the world, but I'd like some context as to, who these people are, and get to enjoy those moments, with a little bit more, like I said, context. I'm a broken record here, but I feel like I lost out on that when it came to like Clone Wars and Cad Bane showing up. I'm like, oh, okay, I know who that is, but that's not as as weighted, as impactful as it was for those who watched those shows. So yeah, I think I'm gonna have to.
And that's where even though I'm not as big on Clone Wars, but that's where my Ahsoka love came from was Rebels, and what she turned into after she leaves the Order, which happens during Clone Wars. My Ahsoka is post Clone Wars, really, and where she's not a Jedi, but she's I like to call her a gray Jedi. Other people say that she's not, and I was like, I don't know, like she's clearly a good person and clearly follows the ways of the Force, and you can see that even more in later stuff without getting too much into spoilers of more recent media. But like you can see kind of what that is. But people have those versions of the characters, just like with Cad Bane. Like he's in Rebels also, and so that's the reason why I knew him. I didn't really have much Clone Wars experience. I keep trying to basically every few weeks I go back and I watch like 2 or 3 episodes of Clone Wars and just kind of keep trucking through it. I don't know, it's just not
Yeah.
there's something about the animation style. It's honestly the animation style. I just don't like the blockiness of it versus Rebels, which is more clean to me in terms of the art style. There's just something about the blocky nature of it where I'm just like,
Yeah.
it's like looking at like certain characters that just look off. Like Obi-Wan looks fine because he's Obi-Wan. They can't make Obi-Wan look bad. But then you look at like
Yeah.
Padme, and you're just
And
like,
you're like,
what do they do to
yeah.
your face?
Yeah, I know. I mean, it was a stylistic choice. I mean, I still liked the mini series that they did before on Clone Wars prior to Rebels, Clone Wars, all that. I forgot what they're referring to that as now, but it was referred to as Clone Wars, the 2D Samurai Jack style. That was cool, but I'm assuming that it's a lot more labor intensive to make something like that than it is to make the animation style for Clone Wars and Rebels. It's much cheaper to do that. Not to downplay what they've done, but it's easier to turn that around than it is to make a more hand drawn animation. And it's like anime. Takes longer to turn those out if it's quality. Yeah, but it's Star Wars, so it's going to be good.
It's not an episode of LANCave if we don't talk about Star Wars.
That's right. And I will say, you were talking about watching Clone Wars in that fashion. I'm like, that's about how much Deep Space Nine I'm watching, because that's something I'll pop in every now and then, 4 or 5 episodes a week maybe. And got to.
I'm on season 1 still.
Okay.
I'm about halfway through the first season, and it's, I obviously remember stuff as it happens, but it's like, oh yeah, this happens with Julian. I forgot that Julian got like taken over by like a murdering dude who like is that like, wow. And I forgot how him and Garrick's relationship started, and like I love Garrick. I love that cast.
Garrick's great. I just got into season 4, and I had to finish the season 4. Is a 2-parter. The first episode is a 2-parter, so I had to watch both of those. But getting Worf getting Worf onto the station, and I feel like it really picks up there, and just immediately you can tell that he and Jadzia, like, sparks are flying, like, right in the first episode. I'm like, yep, this works. It I don't know whose writing choice that was to pair them up, but it works so well with the two of them. Like, it didn't feel forced.
It's interesting seeing that based on how she talked to Julian in the first season, where Julian like is clearly like infatuated with Dax like the whole time, right? And there's one point where she tells him, she's like, I'm a Trill, and we just don't necessarily function that way. But like, there's that difference from when the relationship just makes sense. And that's where it hit with Worf, and based on her past life with Curzon and stuff like that, it made total sense why that was the way it was. But interesting to see like that change of character, just knowing how it went down later versus now watching the first season again, like, oh, she didn't just shoot him down. She was like, oh, I'm a Trill, I'm not like that. But she's like newly joined and still learning how to be Dax.
Yeah, and she wasn't ready for Worf. I don't think that like she expected something like that. She was doing her own thing. It just worked organically for the characters. But yeah, I love it. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this episode of TheLanCave. Let us know what you think about that new Star Wars content. How long do you think it'll be before I build this Millennium Falcon? Is it going to sit in a box, or am I actually going to build it? 2 weeks? We'll see. Let us know in the comments what you think about that, and we'll see you next time.
Bye. Sorry, I got kind of distracted there.
No, it's cool.
The end, but he was being a little butt. Like, he